I'm Evan Nappen.
And I'm Teddy Nappen.
And welcome to Gun Lawyer. So you probably have heard of Jasmine Crockett, and I bet you rarely, if ever, agree with anything she says. She's got a serious case of TDS, which is Trump derangement syndrome, and she is usually off the wall on just about anything she's ever saying, except the one time now where we see that she's made a statement and the media is criticizing her and people are saying, what? This is shocking. How could she say that? Well, you know what she said? I'll tell you what she said. She said that the police aren't there to protect you. That's right. And people went crazy. What do you mean? Well, the police, you see their slogan, to serve and protect, to serve and protect. Of course they're there to protect you. How could she be that stupid to say that police aren't there to protect you when, in fact, she is legally 100% correct? That's right. Police do not have a duty to protect you. Their job is essentially investigation enforcement after the fact. Law enforcement isn't to prevent crime. Law enforcement solves crime. This is what she said, and she is right. Okay? You may not believe it. You may think that's crazy, but let me just tell you the law. And this is why, if she took her statement further, which she won't, that is why we need a right enshrined. We need the ability, we need the means to protect ourselves, because the police are not there to protect us. The old saying is, when seconds count, the police are minutes away. Well, it's more than that. When seconds count, it's not the police job to show up at all. Now, they will try to. Of course, I'm sure in all their hearts they would love to. This is not to put police down, but this is to make it clear to you something you may not be aware of, and that's why Gun Lawyer's here. You may not be aware of the actual state of the law when it comes to the police as to whether or not they have a duty to provide protection. And the answer to that resoundingly is a legal no. And you can look at the case Warren versus District of Columbia, which is probably one of the most incredible examples of this very point. In Warren versus District of Columbia, 1981 decision decided by the District of Columbia Court of Appeals. What the court held there was that police were under no specific legal duty to provide protection to individuals. And wait till you hear the fact scenario of this case where the police had no duty to protect. It's so bad, it's so terrible that the judges even felt it necessary to essentially apologize for making this decision that they had to make because it is the law. Here's what the court said. After re-arguments notwithstanding our sympathy for the appellants who were tragic victims of despicable criminal acts, we affirm the judgments of dismissal. Listen to the fact pattern of what occurred to these folks and why they sued and why they had no cause of action against the police for their negligence, because police have no duty to protect. So I'll give you the facts right now of this case. In the early mornings of March 16th, 1975, appellants, these are the people suing over their negligence and what they experienced, Carolyn Warren, Joanne Taffiero, and Miriam Douglas were asleep in their rooming house on Lamont Street. They shared a room. Warren and Taffiero shared a room on the third floor. Douglas shared a room on the second floor with her 4-year-old daughter. The women were awakened by the sound of the back door being broken down by two men, later identified as Kent and Morse. The two men entered Douglas's second floor, where Kent forced Douglas to sodomize him and Morse raped her. Warren and Taffiero heard Douglas's screams from the floor above. Warren telephoned the police, told the officer on duty that the house was being burglarized, and requested immediate assistance. The department employee told her to remain quiet and assured the police assistance would be dispatched promptly. Warren's call was received by the Metropolitan Police Department at 6:23 a.m. Was recorded as a burglary in process. At 6:26 a.m., a call was dispatched to the officers as a code 2 assignment, although calls for a crime in progress should have been given priority and designated as a code 1. 4 police cruisers responded to the broadcast, 3 to the Lamont Street address, and 1 to the address to investigate a possible suspect. Meanwhile, Warren and Tafaro crawled from their window onto an adjoining roof and waited for the police to arrive. So the 2 on the upper floor have crawled out to the roof. While there, they saw 1 policeman drive through the alley behind their house and proceed to the front of the residence without stopping, leaning out of the window or getting out of the car to check the back entrance of the house. A second officer apparently knocked on the front door of the residence, but left when received no answer. 3 officers departed the scene at 6:33 a.m., 5 minutes after they arrived. When Warren and Tafar crawled back into the room, they again heard Douglas screaming, again called the police, told the officer intruders had entered the home and requested immediate assistance. Once again, the police assured them help was on the way. The second call received at 6:42 a.m. and recorded merely as, quote, investigate the trouble, and it was never dispatched to any police officers. Believing the police might be in the house, Warren and Tafaro called down to Douglas, thereby alerting Kent as to their presence. Kent and Morris then forced all 3 women at knife point to accompany them to Kent's apartment, and for the next 14 hours, the women were held captive, raped, robbed, beaten, forced to commit sexual acts upon each other, and made to submit to the sexual demands of Kent and Morris. Appellate's claim of negligence included the dispatcher's failure to forward the 6:23 a.m. call with the proper degree of urgency and the responding officer's failure to follow the standard police investigation procedures, specifically failure to check the rear entrance, position them properly near the doors and windows, and to ascertain whether there was any activity inside, and the dispatcher's failure to dispatch. All of that gone, dismissed, sorry. Police have no duty. There was no duty to protect. They got nothing, 0, zip. Folks, this is a lesson. The lesson is that you are responsible for your protection. Jasmine Crockett was actually legally correct. Okay? Let that sink in. Police have no duty to protect you. It is incumbent upon you. You are the one responsible for your protection, not the police. So anytime you hear a Second Amendment oppressionist say, you don't need guns, you have the police. No, we don't. It's not the police job to protect you. It is our individual responsibility, and that's why it is our individual right. So, hey, Jasmine Crockett, what can I say? Even a blind squirrel finds a nut. She did. The criticism levied against her is completely misplaced. Right.
More like a nut finding a blind squirrel.
That's right. But the only key here is, Jasmine, take it further. Support the right to keep and bear arms. Support the Second Amendment. Support carry and the ability for individuals to defend themselves because of exactly what you said. Let me tell you about what you can do to protect yourself, a matter of fact. What you can do to protect yourself is get your carry license, and in order to do that, you can go to WeShoot. Our friends at WeShoot offer the classes to get your C-Care certification so you can get your New Jersey permit to carry. WeShoot is a range in Lakewood, New Jersey, and they have a fantastic facility, great training, great pro shop. They have all kinds of deals and specials. We love WeShoot. It's where Teddy and I shoot, where we got our certifications. Just go there, mention Gun Lawyer. You will be treated like royalty. And even if you don't mention Gun Lawyer, you'll still be treated like royalty because they are the best. WeShootUSA.com is their website. Beautiful photos, and don't miss the WeShoot girls that are posing with gorgeous guns. And there are guns that they have that you can buy, and they have great deals, great sales, and they can not only sell you the gun, but teach you how to effectively use them. Check out WeShootUSA.com, conveniently located in Lakewood, New Jersey, right off the Parkway. You'll be glad you did. Let me also mention our good friends at the Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs. And New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs just had a case in the federal court, where the appellate court gave a mixed win at the moment, but of course the fight isn't over. It was a we'll call a partial victory regarding sensitive places and the carry killer bill. Essentially, what the status quo is at the moment has been maintained, in which you can still carry in your vehicle with the carjacker protection law still being enjoined. You can carry concealed, loaded on your person with a carry permit in your vehicle. That is still enjoined, and you can do that because remember the carry killer bill tried to prevent it. You can still have go on private property as long as it's open to the public and not otherwise a sensitive place. We lost a little bit in terms of filming locations, in terms of movie filming, and in terms of transport on public transportation. You're going to have the gun cased, unloaded, etc., if you're going to be riding a bus or a train. However, interestingly, they found that of the $200 fee, the $50 fee portion that goes to the state was unlawful. It's unlawful because it went to the VCCB, which is the Victims Crime Compensation Board, and under the case law, you cannot have a fee for a license not go to the actual regulatory activity that is the purpose of the fee. So that's been knocked out. So now the price for a New Jersey carry permit is $150. And if you live in any of the towns that are refunding, such as Englishtown, which one of the first to start it, they're refunding their $150. You can actually get your carry permit in New Jersey for free. So the fight continues. This is just one step as we go along, challenging these Second Amendment oppressionists legislation that they've laid upon us, and the association is there at the forefront fighting for your rights. Make sure you're a member of anjrpc.org, anjrpc.org. And let me also mention my book, which is New Jersey Gun Law. It is the Bible of New Jersey gun law. You can get your copy of New Jersey Gun Law at evannappen.com, and you'll be glad you did, because it can help keep you out of the New Jersey gun owner gulag. It'll help you navigate the very complex course that has been laid out by the gun rights oppressionists to try to trip you up, turn you into a criminal, and stop you from being a defender instead of a victim. And you need to be a defender instead of a victim, especially since the police have no duty to protect you, as you now know. So get the book. You'll be glad you did. Go to evannappen.com. Get that big orange book. Order it today. And when you get it, scan the front cover and make sure you get in my private subscriber base. You'll be able to immediately access the archive. You'll be able to get the updates that I send out, and you will be able to download the 2025 comprehensive update that has including a new standalone chapter on sensitive places and where you can and can't carry. So check it out and get your book today. Teddy, what do you have for us on press checks?
No, press checks are always free. I assume everyone, just to not only the death of Charlie Kirk, but the brutal slaying of an innocent woman on a tram from just some monster taking a knife and gutting her. I was kind of thinking on, now that there's just all-out violence that is going on, I look to one book. I don't know if many people have read it, but many people are familiar with Jeff Cooper. You actually met Jeff Cooper, even. I remember you.
Oh, a number of times, and he was my favorite. I mean, man, when you got Guns and Ammo, he had that back page. First thing I read in Guns and Ammo, and he was a great writer and a great man. Loved Jeff Cooper.
Yep, he was also on the board of directors of the National Rifle Association.
Oh, yeah.
Perfected the modern pistol shooting techniques, and he was the one who spearheaded it, and just crazy.
Scout rifle, 10 millimeter, you name it. He was an amazing legend and influence on the world of firearms and gun rights, for that matter, too.
Yeah, and from what has been happening in this world, I look to one of his more popular books, which I highly recommend anyone who is willing to read or even just listen to it, is Principles on Personal Defense.
Oh yeah, it's a classic.
This is I've listened to it twice, and you have I assume
Hmm.
you have your signed copy somewhere.
Oh yeah, that's right. I do. Yep, I sure as
Yeah.
hell do. Hmm.
There's two key ones though. I'm not going to go over the whole principles, but one particular, the number one principle, first thing he talks about, alertness. Alertness, alertness. He even has this quote in the book: "A commander may be forgiven for being defeated, but never for being surprised." That is something to think on and live by, where he kind of goes in these details about being far more observant, training yourself. He actually describes it as make it a game. Keep a chart. Every time anyone is able to approach you from behind without your knowledge, give yourself an X. Every time you see someone before they see you, give yourself an O. And then look at your score at the end of the day. It's a great way to practice because you need to be observant nowadays. If you sit in a car, someone's there, you something seems out of place, something seems off, catch it. 99% of the time it's probably nothing, but it's that 1% where it could be an issue. And he even looks to call out, look for things that are out of place too. You're walking home and you see your doors ajar, or you see something is off. Why is that? Check always, because you never know what's going to happen out there. And in this day and age, you need to be far more observant, as all it takes is for something you miss, and that's what gets you. There is one quote that also sticks with me. It's on the principle that he carries, which is ruthlessness. It's one that I feel that is very important now, especially what's been going on. If violent crime is to be curbed, is only it is only the intended victim who can do it. The felon does not fear the police. He fears neither the judge nor the jury. Therefore, what he must be taught to fear is the victim. That is something I think is very important in this day and age now, where you have to learn to defend yourself. You have to learn and be ruthless in that regard, in that you have to, in those precious moments, do not think about you are don't think about the bad guy. Think about yourself. You got to defend yourself, and in what seconds could be precious to decide life and death for you. And he actually
And
goes,
remember, and reaction is always slower than action, right? So this is part of where, in a way, always at that disadvantage, and you don't want that disadvantage to become even worse and more of a
yeah,
disadvantage. So awareness ties into this with exactly what you're saying. But the fear of the victim is really what carry and defense is about, because once the evildoers realize that their victims will fight back and are no longer easy pickings, it is the same even in the animal kingdom. It is the weak that is preyed upon. And to a large degree, if it becomes known that individuals carry, then the evildoers do not know who is and who isn't carry, and that becomes a deterrence in and of itself. And that's what you see in the states that have the correct and proper attitude toward individuals who are defenders. And that's where that very principle you talked about is proven, is demonstrated. And New Jersey is unfortunately not following it. They turn defenders into criminals. They have an agenda to take our guns and disenfranchise us of our rights. And it does a disservice to the very principle, Teddy, that you've just discussed. It creates more victims, and it ends up harming society and costing lives, costing us in terms of crime. And they don't care about that because they have an agenda that they feel is way more important. And that agenda runs through in a bias through the entire system. And that's what we have to stand up to. And we got to make these political changes, make these legislative changes, make sure you get out and vote. All this is part of the big picture. So these points by Colonel Cooper are timeless, and I highly recommend, if you haven't read his principles, it's a very short, very important read, and it will change your perspective on life and help you to not be a victim and to better protect yourself. It really is just a classic piece of Jeff Cooper magnificence.
Even just kind of rereading it, you see how a lot of these principles can still be applied today, where I even talks about one of the stories with one of his students where the student two guys were rolling up on him with a machine pistol, that's what he describes it as, and a shotgun. But the principle he applied to that was coolness, where he was able to be accurate. And immediately as the two were rolling up on him in his car, he gets out, aims, and fires. As the other two just spray and miss, he takes them both out. Yep. But it just shows the level of, and that's the principle of coolness, where you have to be accurate. But
that was a classic with the Western gunfighter, right? That was always their procedure. Like, guys you see, fanning the hammer and all that. No, the guys that really knew it were cool under fire and made their shots count. That's right.
Yeah. But this is definitely something, if anyone, I would highly, highly recommend reading his book or even listening to it. And it gives good advice, because right now things are very hard and difficult.
Right. It is. And it's dangerous times for sure. This next, I want to mention the segment that we all look forward to, which is GoFu. GoFu is the gun owner F up. These are where real good gun people make mistakes that can be costly. And what I want to emphasize about this week's GoFu is I don't want you to lose your gun rights because of something you post. And given everything that's going on, and with the ghouls that are out there posting things online, you may be tempted to respond in kind or respond out of emotion. Do not do that, because let me tell you, New Jersey actually has as one of its disqualifiers in the licensing statute, which applies to your firearms purchase or ID card, your carry permit, and your permit to purchase a handgun. It falls under subsection C, where the disqualifiers are, but it's right in the beginning paragraph. And it says, to whom may obtain. It says, except as herein provided, a person shall not be denied a permit to carry a handgun, a permit ID card, or a firearm ID card, unless the person is known in the community in which the person lives as someone who has engaged in acts or made statements suggesting the person is likely to engage in conduct other than justified self-defense that would pose a danger to self or others. And that's where your social media gets looked at. If something gets reported, if anything along that, where you said something back even to some disgusting, horrible statement some jerk makes online, they can turn the tables on you and move to revoke and deny your gun rights. So don't have that GoFu. Be very careful. Remember, anything you put online is public. It is recorded permanently, okay? And it will be there to possibly haunt you and cause problems for you being able to have firearms in New Jersey. This is Evan Nappen and Teddy Nappen reminding you that gun laws don't protect honest citizens from criminals. They protect criminals from honest citizens.
Gun Lawyer is a Counterthink media production. The music used in this broadcast was managed by Cosmo Music, New York, New York. Reach us by emailing evan@gun.lawyer. The information and opinions in this broadcast do not constitute legal advice. Consult a licensed attorney in your state.